Hi there. This is going to be our second video regarding the admin user. And I think in this video, I'll take you through some important aspect of the administrator and what the administrator is able to manage. And I'll take you through the to the back office task. I'll take you through the user management tasks in terms of viewing all the companies, viewing all the users and the information related to them. And I will also take you through the sales aspect of it, which you have not seen yet. All right, great. So I'll take you through it. So we log in as the administrator. Of course, just keep in mind that I am the super administrator, and there could be other role provided to the administrators. Um, Here, we have four elements in the back office. We have banks, credit notes, EFT payments, and countries. And all of these are very critical for one reason or another. So let's start with the banks, right? So when we have the banks, banks are used simply to record EFT payment. So all of the banks that we'll be dealing with in the countries that we'll be going through will be recorded just to enable people to record the EFT payments. Um, and so to create a bank is fairly simple. So we go to create, and let's say we create bank Z. Just make sure that it's in capital letter. We provide the phone number of the bank. Make sure that we have that, and we provide the address of the bank. This has been used all over. Let's just use Bridge Road for once for a change. Okay, perfect. So as simple as that. You essentially just provide the name, the phone, the email, the address, and you have it. And you would look on the section on your view page here, and that you get to see all of the EFT payment going through the bank, but you can also create one quickly. And that's about it for the banks. Now, moving on is the credit note. Now, what are you able to do with the credit note? Essentially, credit note is a way for us to record deals that are not going through the platform and through the payment gateways that we have. So imagine a company that says, we would like to pay you 300 Botswana Pula for 10 SMSs, right? Obviously, hypotheticals. But we don't want to go through your payment gateways. It's like, okay, great, no problem. We're just going to create a credit record and then we're going to assign those to you. So you'll be able to see as an administrator all of the credit notes that have been recorded. And what do we do? We select what's the product. So to create one, obviously you select create, and then we say, okay, this person wants SMS credit. Payment due dates, they'll pay us, let's say, tomorrow. Credited user, let's say we use Clark Bob, and you see the company name is automatically updated. VAT, we decide, okay, it's the 14% VAT in Botswana that applies. And then credit status, we say it's already been approved. So internally, we're happy with that. Then we say we give them 300 SMSs for 100 Botswana Pula, right? And then we confirm. And once we confirm, it's there. And what you see here is you have a few options. You can edit, you can delete, you can update credit, you can generate an invoice. And so let's assume that what we want to do now is to essentially update the credit because it has been approved already. And so we can say update credit. We click on the update credit. And what it does is it loads the credits that we've implemented, quantity 300, uh, at the amount. It loads it and sends it to. It loads it into the account of the user essentially. And you can still generate an invoice if they need an invoice. You click on generate invoice, and you'll see the invoice appearing here with all of the corresponding details. And then you can send this across to the customer via email if they requires it. And you're able to do this over and over again. The pattern is not going to disappear because you did it once. That's essentially for the credit note. The credit note is simply to record payment of the customers that is not going through the payment gateway channels. And Following that, you get to load all of the information needed for the customers. Second is the EFT payment, which is also another way to record payments that are not necessarily going through our platform, right? So you have a customer, this customer goes out and says, okay, I would like to purchase 400 SMSs. I've seen the costs. I'm going to do it via EFT. Okay, perfect. So they go and they make their bank transfer. Now we say, okay, let's record it on the system before we load you with the credit. So what is the reference of the transaction? Let's say for the sake, they say testing 300 USSD session, right? So this is what they put on the payment. It's like, what do they want? They want USSD session. Payment date, they paid us yesterday, okay? Source bank, what bank did they use? They used Bank Z, the one we just created. Users to be credited, it's Clark Bob who did it, Bob Clark, sorry. And then the payment status, it has been confirmed, and that's why we need to add the proof of payment, and they need to add load proof of payment, right? Perfect. Proof of payment has been loaded, and then we say, okay, they purchased 300. The cost on the document is 450, and we're happy with that. And we confirm. So, okay, perfect. And it's saved, right? And again, you can go and edit. As long as you have not updated the credit, you can go and log it. So you can edit, you can delete, as long as it hasn't been credited. But we say, okay, we're happy with this. Let's update the user credit, right? And this is going to update the user account that you've selected, which is Clark Bob 494. And you see here that the account credited has changed to a check mark, which was empty. Now it has a value, and that means great. Now we have our EFT payment well implemented. And you can go to the EFT payment and you'll be able to see all of the can go to the EFT payment and you're able to see all of the EFT payments that have gone through. What's the amount? Was it credited or not? And you get to see all of these. Now, second, the last one, sorry, fourth on the list is countries. Now, countries are important for one reason. Each time the gateway expands in a new country, we need to add the details of that country on our system to allow the users to select that country and to be able to send SMSs to those countries. You see three at the moment: Botswana, Namibia, and South Africa, because these are the ones that we currently have. The creation process of a country code is fairly simple. We select the country code. Let's say we're going to expand in the DRC, right? DRC, it's 243. Perfect. Country name, we go Congo, DRC, and we confirm. And immediately it saves the country. It saves the country name. Um, but, we're not operating in these countries at the moment. So we better remove it. And to remove it is fairly simple. You go back to the list view, you select the one you want to remove, and then you go delete. It asks you to confirm the deletion. I'll say yes, I would like to delete indeed. And voila, it's gone. So it has been deleted. But that's what the countries are for. It's very, very important. Without countries, the users can't do much because most things are linked to countries, including some of the commercials, which I am going to show to you now. Then let's follow through with the sales management aspect of things. The first thing that you see on the sales management is the sales report. Now, what's the sales report for? The sales report is simply an aggregated report of all the purchases that are going through the platform. That includes the purchases that are going through the platform online and the purchases that are being recorded offline. And here you get a list of um, an aggregate of value for everything. And then you also get a list of, okay, in terms of SMS credits, the company Roland AP has had 4 transactions and the total amount is 1,041, right? And then it goes on. Some companies have zero, so they haven't operated at all. That's an opportunity for your sales guys to just follow up with them if need be. To say, oh, you've been using the platform. What happens here? Um, and the way the report works is the same as the home page or the dashboard. You have your filters, and depending on what you put in the filters, the data on your screen changes. Following the sales report, we have the SMS packages. Now, this is very, very important because without SMS packages, people can't purchase SMSs, right? At least directly from the website. And here we have the approach of having packages with a minimum number of SMS with the maximum. And if you remember, when you are a user or a business user and you're making a purchase, you say, I want to buy 500 SMSs. And then the system asks you to calculate. And when you press on calculate, it gives you the amounts that you need to pay. Now, how does the calculation work? Fairly simple. It takes the amounts that you have and then run the calculation based on the cost per SMS, based on the minimum and the maximum amount of SMS or the level that you selected. So if the package, meaning if you purchase 500 SMSs, the cost of those 500 SMSs would be 500 times 0.33. And the reason for that is because 500 falls within level 1, which is minimum and maximum, minimum of 1, maximum of 5,000. Creating an SMS package is fairly simple. You provide the name, the minimum amount of SMSs, the maximum amount of SMSs, and the cost. The USSD package, which is the next that we need to talk about, the next module, works the same way as the SMS package, except that this relates to the USSD sessions. The approach is the exact same. To create it, um, you simply provide the name, the minimum number of session, the maximum number of session, and the cost per session. That's it. And the calculation when you're purchasing a USSD credit or USSD session is the same as the calculation approach when you're purchasing SMS credit and number of SMSs. Following that, we have the masking costs. Now, why do we have a masking cost? So we have a masking cost because we need to make sure that when people are purchasing when people are purchasing masking ID, there's a cost attached to it. Here we have two types of cost. We have masking cost as a default. That's the one you pay for when you're going through the payment gateway. But you also have others that are country related. So as we expand in different countries and different currencies, the system is built in such a way that we should be able to accommodate for that. So we can record multiple masking costs, and depending on the scenarios, the developers will be able to allocate the correct ones. But the process to create a masking cost is fairly simple. You provide the cost name, you provide the amount, and you decide if this is a default or a country related. So if it's the default, that's the one that goes through the platform. If it's country related, it's going to apply to a specific country. And then you would select the country code if it's country related. You would select what is the country code and you would proceed with that. And the next one is string cost. Now, string cost works the exact same way as the masking cost, and this is for the purchase of a USSD string. And the USSD string is essentially the USSD code that people would use to access your USSD application. And so we can say, okay, let's create one, and we can name this test um, test cost, for instance, right? So cost name, cost amounts. Let's say this is 890 and 34 cents, and then the type. Because we have a default, and it applies to, let's say, South Africa. Because we have a default, if we confirm, the system would say, you already have a default record. Please update the default record first. So you have to change the other default for this one to be a default. So that's why we say, no, this is simply country related. And we confirm. So now it's established. You can edit it at a later stage. You can delete it if need be, but now you have it, and obviously this would be used more as the business evolves. And lastly, on the sales management section, there is VAT management. And again, why do we have VAT management? Because you operate in multiple countries, and depending on what the rules of those countries are and what are related, we might have to have more than one VAT requirement. So that's one. The second aspect of it is we need VAT management because countries do change VAT from time to time, and we do not want to hardcode that value each time those changes are being made. And to create a VAT is the same process as you're creating a masking cost or string cost, at least holistically. So name, let's call this South African VAT, right? Um, the value 14%, right? The type is country related, and what's country code? South Africa, and you confirm, right? And immediately it will save it and it will say that the VAT that we have created, sorry, I went to the wrong VAT. Um, no. So we have a default and we have a country. Sorry, I selected Botswana instead of South Africa for the country code. So let me set it up to South Africa, and you can see immediately the name changes to South Africa 14. And when we save it, it's South Africa's 14. And it tells you what are the purchases that have gone through with this VAT. What are the credit notes that have gone through with this VAT? So you do keep track of those elements just to do the calculations. If your accounting team needs it, there is a way to provide them with that information. So if you go to the Botswana, for instance, you go credit purchase. So these are all the credits. So we've had about 80 purchases that have come through using this VAT. And the customer credit, we've had about 20 of it. I'm calculating 20 and estimating based on the page calculations here. Um, so that's it for the sales management aspect. And the other thing that I just wanted to demo to you are customer management functions or the modules underneath them. So you have the company profile. You're the super administrator and other administrator. You might want to view the profile of companies from time to time for many reasons, or you might want to update the KYC if they've provided you with the right information. So if you look on my end here, I am able to see all of the companies, and at the moment we have about close to 60 companies registered on the platform. So at random, let's select Bitri as the company. And when you select the company, you get to see the information: company name, tax number, invoicing email, technical email, registration number, VAT number, billing address. So you get to see those. But importantly, you get to navigate through other things that the company has. So group lists, the sessions that are going through um, with the company, and you're the super administrator. So there are changes that you are able to essentially make as you navigate through these the USSD pages that they have. So you have this ability to go and see things that the companies are able to do. So this company only has one user, and you have the string, you have the masking IDs, everything that has been provided to this user. You're able to essentially see it, and you're able to view. So it's very important to note that the administrator is able to view, but the administrator isn't necessarily able to create, edit, and delete certain things. And you would experience that when we start to see some more component. Now, the next module in the customer management is the user profile. So when you get to the user profile, obviously you get the full name of the user, the username, the company name, the USSD count, how many sessions do they have, SMS count, the date that they've been created. But most importantly, you click on the username to view the information about this user, right? So how many credit purchases gone through, so credit notes, sorry. So you get to see EFT payments, you get to see them, credit notes, you get to see them. And this is the wrong Bob Clark. So this is Clar Bob. So I think to show you the user that we've been using is Clark Bob. And you see the details of Clark Bob's here. Okay, so these are all the details of Clark Bob's. We're happy with them. Purchases, we see the purchases that Clark Bob has made. EFT payment linked to him. We get to see them. Credit notes that are linked to him. We get to see them. API messages. So he has sent two messages via APIs, and these were when we were sending and testing APIs initially with the user. And you get to see that you get to see them here. Um, Masking requests, you're able to see them. USSD string requests, you get to see them. USSD strings, you get to see them, which ones are allocated. Masking ID, you get to see them as well. So it provides you with a view of everything that's going on with the user and the company. Now, to provide you with a recap, so in this video, I wanted to take you through three things: the back office, sales management, and customer management. And when it comes to the back office, what you need to understand is that there are tasks that are there to make sure that certain activities that are not necessarily occurring on the platform, especially payments, are still being taken care of. And here we speak to the credit note and we speak to the EFT payment. Because we have EFT payment, we need to have the track records of the banks. But additionally to that, because the platform is used internationally, cost might change based on countries, VAT might change based on countries. It's important for us to start tracking the countries where the platform would be used or the countries where the platform is to be used. And so we're also tracking countries under the back office section. Now, the other things that happens here is that in the sales management aspect, we focus on tracking the sales that are happening on the platform using the sales report, but we're also able to manage various costs that occurs through the platform. That speaks to the cost of an SMS package, USSD package, the cost of masking ID, the cost of a USSD string, and to top that off, because we're working in different countries, we should also be able to manage VAT. And the sales management section allows us to do just that. Now, following through to that is the customer management. And what happens in customer management is simply that we are able to view the details and the transactions that are conducted both by the company and the users. So when you go to customer management and you select company profile, you're able to see the list of all the companies that have registered on the platform. And when you select a company, you're able to navigate through different activities and tasks that these companies have been able to perform on the platform. And that works the exact same way with the user profile. Thank you, everyone. I'll see you in the next video.